Hello, my name is Dr. Cadence Kinsey and I am lecturer in contemporary art here in the Department of History of Art at UCL. I'm also the admissions tutor in the department, and so my job today is just to say a few words about what history of art actually involves as a subject and why you might want to study it in terms of the kinds of careers that it can prepare you for. Some of you may know that in the department we have a couple of different degree programmes. Our single honours degree enables you to study works of art from the Middle Ages right up to the contemporary period. We cover a very wide geographical sweep, so we look at artworks from Europe to India to the Americas, and you will have a chance to look at works of art and visual culture in a variety of media, from painting and sculpture to prints and photography to video performance and architecture. And the other degree that we offer is what we call our MAT programme, and this is our programme in the history of art, materials and technology. This degree provides a focus on works of art as physical objects and is an absolutely unique degree, really the only one of its kind in the UK. The MAT programme follows a very similar structure to our single honours degree, but throughout the degree you will also be taking modules that are focused on technical and lab-based skills that will really introduce you to issues in conservation and preservation. And these modules are run across our 2 teaching and research labs that we have on site in the department. Now, what is history of art and why might you want to study it in terms of the kinds of career skills that you will gain? We know that the vast majority of schools don't teach history of art as a subject. So some of you might be wondering, what will the degree even involve? So the first thing that I wanted to say is that it doesn't matter at all if you have never studied the subject before. But I also want to say that what is really important about how we see history of art here at UCL is that it is not about making value judgments on a work of art, about saying that this or that is a great work of art or a beautiful work of art. Instead, what we do is to really try and understand a work of art in the context of the society in which it was made. And that might involve thinking about why it was made, how it was made, or who it was made for, and why it might look the way that it does. And crucially, this means thinking about a work of art in dialogue with the wider visual cultures of its time, whether that is movies or manuscripts. And just to give you one example, in my own work, I look at the internet, and that's because I'm really interested in trying to understand how the internet has changed everyday life. So in that respect, we can think about a subject like history of art as being quite similar to something like history or even English literature, which are subjects that are all about trying to understand different aspects of society and culture. And it can be really useful to think of a history of art degree as you would any good humanities degree in terms of the kinds of skills that it will enable you to develop. So here I'm thinking about skills in critical thinking, in research and writing, in argument and presentation, and in thinking historically. But the history of art also gives you skills in visual analysis, in understanding images and how they carry meaning. And this is something that seems to be increasingly important in today's society. And finally, what I think is so brilliant about art history as a subject is that it is inherently interdisciplinary, and it might take you to all sorts of different places. So for example, I mentioned my own work on the internet, but others in the department at UCL also work on things like questions of race and gender and sexuality. They work on finance, they work on surveillance, they work on animal studies. The list really is almost endless. And what this means is that you can develop in-depth knowledge of a wide range of fields that might draw on previous study that you have done, but also might help set you up for quite a wide range of different possible career paths. And this brings me on to my final point, which is about where all this could lead in terms of what comes next after the degree. Now, it perhaps goes without saying that a degree in history of art is absolutely a way into working in museums and galleries if that is what interests you. And we do have a very large number of students who go on to work at wonderful institutions all around the world, from the Tate in London to the National Gallery at Singapore. And our MAT programme, the History of Art and Materials and Technology programme, can also be a really important step for anyone wishing to work in conservation. And in fact, it is the only degree that can enable you to move straight into a postgraduate qualification in that field. But it is also a bit of a misconception about the discipline that these are the only jobs that it prepares you for. And in fact, we have many, many students who go on to work in a wide range of roles and industries. So for example, we have students who go on to work in sectors such as PR, marketing and advertising, because the unique visual skills that our degrees provide are highly valued by those industries. And we have students who go on to work in performance and the creative arts, in publishing, journalism and translation, just to name a few. And of course, we also have students who set up their own businesses. And you can hear from some of those students in our alumni videos. And all of this is really where those different transferable skills that I mentioned before really come in. Okay, so that's all from me. Thank you so much for listening, and do be in touch if you have any questions.